got finished doing inventory. I'm actually pretty pleased. The one thing that I wish I would have had more of were otters, these little otters. I just kind of made them on a whim the last day, and I made 3 of them, and I'd sold out of all 3 of them in like the first hour or so. I was working on crocheting something else, and when I sold the last one, I'm like, oh, I should be making these. And not like you get a ton of time to crochet during markets, but I made this one and put it out right before closing market, so it didn't sell. But anyway, all in all, I sold 38 items. My very first market, my other market, I sold 31. This time I sold 38. And so I feel like it was a good swap around. They did say that the markets in July, because it's basically like through the 12 weeks of summer. It's every week through the 12 weeks of summer. And in July, they said that it generally gets a lot busier. You have even more vendors coming and stuff because it's in the very middle of summer. That's when the most tourists are around and all of that kind of stuff. So we shall see, but it definitely was enough for me to want to go back next week. I sold 4 mini octos. I sold 5 mini whales. I sold 2 bitty birds. No, I sold 4 bitty birds. 2 of them were the chicks, the yellow chicks, and 2 of them were the little mallard ducks. I sold 1 mushy boy, but this is something that I noticed. I had watched something and they said do mostly like your plain colored mushy boys. So like the ones with just like a regular like kind of mushroom color. And they were saying because those tended to sell better than the others. My last market I sold several mushy boys and I didn't have time to make any more, but I sold all bright colored ones last market. And this market I sold my other bright colored one, and this one was actually behind the sign, so I don't know if it just wasn't viewable or whatever. So I'm definitely making more, but I'm making more with like the brighter colored hats. So I sold the 1 mushy boy, and then I sold 2 leggy froggies. Everybody loved the leggy frogs. I did raise the price on them this time, and I sold 3 of them. And the thing was, I had $12 on the stand. I had it priced at $8 previously for my last market. This market I decided to bump it up to 10, but for some reason when I was writing the sign I wrote 12. So I think if I would have done 10, I probably would have sold more. But even whenever somebody bought it, I still only sold it for 10 because I thought that's what it was for, and I didn't realize till almost the end of market that I had the sign up for 12. So anyway, learning curve there. Tiny turtles. So these are like not my most favorite thing to make, but they sold well last time. And this time I had 4 and I sold 3 of them. And this is the only little guy I have left. He's a little sleepy turtle. So I'm definitely going to be making some more turtles because that's one of the ones that, I don't know, the kids just love and they hold. And I like doing these like the little sleepy turtles because then they're safe for little ones and they're fun and they're cute. So I sold 3 tiny turtles. I did bring possums. It was so funny because I told my husband, it's like, I don't know why possums are so popular right now. I don't know if other people's possums look different than where I'm from, but the possums where I'm from are not cute. But I decided to bring them anyway, and I did sell one. So I absolutely loved making them. They are really cute. They look absolutely nothing like the real thing, but I did sell one, and everybody like gushed over them. They're like, oh my gosh, possums. So anyway, so I did those, and then I sold one of those, and then I made these little chunky kitty patterns. I was doing loaf kitties, and I was like, you know, I want something smaller, but you know, still just as cute. So I made up the pattern for this, and so I made 4 of them, and I sold 1. But again, tons of comments, and I had probably about 3 little kids pick them up and decide they wanted to get them, and then they turn around and they saw like either the turtles or the whales, which are cheaper, and then they're like, oh, I want this, because I guess they're smaller and more fun to hold in their hands. And so I could have sold more if they hadn't have gotten distracted by the other things. And then I sold one of the, yeah, I already said that, sold the possum. And then the otters, I think I already mentioned that. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna make more to bring because I sold everything I had within like the first hour. And whenever I had them there, everybody was just like, oh my goodness. And the last person that got one, his sister was there, and I think if it would not have been the only one left, they may would have gotten two. Anyway, but these ones are really fun to make. I love whenever some of my favorites to make do well, because then I get to make more of my favorites. But that's kind of the summary of what all sold. The market this time is a little bit more expensive than the other market, but I can tell as this was just the first one, it really honestly wasn't the best advertised. I wound up yesterday morning going around and like sharing to several different local groups, but it wasn't like overly advertised, but it's something that people know is there throughout the summer. So as the summer goes on, they're expecting it to pick up more and stuff like that. So for what it was, I'm very pleased. Tyler did amazing, and it's kind of funny because we were teasing about what his hourly wage and stuff was going to be to begin with.
Okay, tell me if this is fair. He asked, what'd you ask?
Well, how much do I get paid an hour? I didn't even ask.
He didn't ask how much he gets paid per hour. I told him a kiss per hour. Tell me that's fair.
Well, you better get started.
Down payment?
It's a down payment, yeah.
And he would go and walk around and stuff like that, and there was one point in time I saw some other crochet critters there, and so I was like, okay, I saw some people carrying them around. I'm like, okay, I wonder who it is that's doing it, what their prices are and stuff like that. I did go and take a sneak peek and stuff, but while I was gone, he sold, like, both times I passed, there were people in the booth, and he sold several items. And I'm like, I should leave more often and let you do this. They did have two other people. So one booth was like all about cats, and so she had a couple of crocheted kitties there, but they were quite a bit more expensive than mine were, so I wasn't really worried about that, and not quite the same patterns. And then the other crochet artist, her things were cute. She had different things. So she had more like the cereal bowls, donuts, Pop-Tarts kinds of things, and I'm definitely more on the animal side. And so I feel like it wasn't really a conflicting of interest, and she just had a smaller table set up with them. So yeah, all in all, it was really good. It was quite windy, and again, I wasn't going to put up the wall because it felt like the wind was blowing like through us sideways, and so it's like, you know what, I'm not going to put the wall up because I don't want to like block vision for either of the vendors on either side of us. But then we've decided to go ahead and put it on the back, and just putting it on the back helps so much. So I'm definitely all about the wall. And then the tablecloths, even if those things cost $40 a piece, which they didn't, they only cost like less than $20. Even if those things cost $40 a piece, it would be worth it. The ones that fit well, that are tight fitting over your table and tuck in underneath the corners of the table, definitely never want to do a market without those again. That's got to be one of my favorite things that I'm using at market. I did change my setup this time. I had more items, different items available, so it definitely filled my table more. I liked the way it looked a lot better. And this time I put a lot of my medium, like my loaf cats and possums and mushy boys and stuff, like I put those on the shelf that was in the front corner to catch attention more so than the bigger things, and it did really well because when people saw things were smaller, they walked in. So that definitely was a good thing. I'm thinking about doing something because whenever I have my table set up, which you'll see a picture, I have it set up when you're looking at it, it's an L going into the booth. But I think on the front table of that L next time, I want to put some of my smaller things. so that way people see there's smaller things there. Because anytime I was talking to people, they're like, you know, I love the fact that you have smaller items for children, and just if people want to come in and get just a little something, I love the fact that you have smaller items. So that was something that was really great. That I absolutely loved, I used to be a professional organizer. So one thing that I absolutely love is having my sales sheet pre-done, pre-printed. So in my sales sheet, I literally on the one side, I have a space for my inventory. I have my item description saying which it is. And then I have in the center, I have numbers sold, and it's just for me to write tally marks, because I see so many people like actually writing down every sale. And yes, if you sell out of something to begin with, make a note of that, or if you notice you're selling more of one color, you can make a note of that on the side. But sitting down and writing out every single thing, you are going to forget something. If it's just a tally mark, when somebody hands you the toy or goes to make a payment, you literally have your chart there and you just put a tally mark there. So it saves a ton of time and it helps so much with your inventory. So I have just a section for me to put my tally marks, then I put the amount, what price per item, whatever that item is, and then at the end I have a space for total. So that way at the end of the day, all I have to do is I have to look at my inventory there, my number sold, and then my total. I will probably add one more section to that chart, and that will be ending inventory, because I mean, I don't have to rush to pick things up, and it's pretty easy to count when I'm putting things away. And so I can just write my total inventory. I mean, it doesn't bother me to sit here and do my inventory, but that way I have it all out on one sheet and I'm not like scribbling all on the sides and all that kind of stuff. So that has helped me a lot with my last market and this market. It made doing my summaries and calculating everything out just such a breeze. One thing people have said, okay, you need to have Venmo. Honestly, so far, I've not seen any limitations from not having it. People are fine with either cash or card. My Square is fine, it works amazing, and a lot of people buy with that. One of the things that really stood out to me this time was the fact that people don't care how much things cost. I am from a large family, I'm one of 12 kids, and so we always counted the cost of everything that we bought. And so it was either you bought it on a deal or you made it, or if it was cheap enough you could get it, kind of thing. But having people just walk in and see something and go, oh my gosh, that's so cute, I want that, and hand it to me without even looking at the price, that was so different for me. And it's like, okay, this is something I'm gonna have to get used to, because it happened both at my last market and this market. And it's like, okay, this is different. And then the other thing was I had person after person after person tell me, wow, you've got great talent, your stuff is great quality, and that makes me feel happy, because I know they're appreciating my work and it makes me feel good about what I'm doing. And then lastly, I don't know what you call it, but where you have crochet artists and they're kind of stingy about, you know, I just want to be making the sales and I'm not willing to share that much. I haven't seen a lot in the crochet community, I will say that, but I've seen a couple. And when you have people come up and say, oh, I wish I could do that, and like all that kind of stuff, and just be like, yeah, but for me, crocheting is something that, because of where I am in life, it is a lifesaver for me. And I never know when somebody else might be in the same situation where they can't do things physically, they can't hold a regular job or whatever, or just, I mean, it's a dopamine enhancer. So if they're at a point in time in their life where they're stressed out and they just need more, then yeah, I'm all for helping other people learn how to crochet. So I've been giving people my business cards like, hey, send me questions if you have any, you know, look on YouTube, they've got some great tutorials there. And so I will probably wind up be doing some of my own YouTube tutorials, but I'm all for sharing the love. And people really, really resonated with that and appreciated that. And I feel like overall it helped with the vibe of my booth. So that was my market. It was a lot of fun, and when I did my inventory, I went ahead and made my to make list and all of the things that I needed to make to refill. There were some things, you know, like, yeah, I'm not gonna make any more of those, and then give myself some space to try out a few new things. So that is my market wrap up, and it was a lot of fun. I cannot wait until next week.
Oh, come on now. You're distracting.
Wow. Oh, look at the little cat. That's a turtle. That is so cool.
You make these? I do, yes.
Wow.
What do you call that, crochet? Yes, it's crochet.
That's amazing. Look at the monkey. That is amazing.
It's a lot of fun. So just finished setting up and got 1 minute. We had 1 minute to go. So already actually sold one chicken, and people are walking by and loving what they see. So it's encouraging. He's been my cameraman so far, taking footage. So whatever footage you see later, most of it is probably his fault.
My fault.
So anyway, so we finished setting up, and I was starving because I haven't had anything since lunch. And so Tyler went down to the food trucks, and from the food truck, the Dragon Bowl, he got me this. He tried to find something healthy, and he found something healthy, and it is really good. So, yep, I'm getting satisfied. And he's sitting up there, so people will think that he made everything.